What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Gifted Exchange. You already know who you're talking to, Nehemiah. You already know Josh is on the line, and my guy, the host, Coach Lloyd, is on the line. All right, so the topic of the day is, you see it behind me, right? You see my white warrior, I like that. All right, anyway, forgiveness, right? We about to get this thing started for y'all, man. Go ahead, Coach Lloyd, take it over, Lloyd.
Yo, what's going on? So the topic for the day is forgiveness. But I want to say this before we get started. Please continue to keep the whole world in prayer, man. We know the pandemic going on, people dying our age, left and right. So, hey, stay prayed up, man, and keep the faith. All right, so today we're going to talk about forgiveness. That's pretty deep, right, fellas?
Yeah, it can be.
Yes.
Oh,
deep.
it can be. Oh,
Deep.
yeah.
Get your shovel deep.
Right. So I got to hit you with the Google definition, as always. All right, so it says forgiveness, a deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness. So that's the quick little version of forgiveness. So we're going to kind of basically dive right in it real soon. Mm-hmm. But before we get that, I want to refer to this one quote from the Bible about forgiveness. And I'm going to start from Mark 11:24 all the way to the 25th verse. And it says, "Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that you receive them, and ye shall have them. And when you stand praying, forgive." Oh, hold on, let me read that back over. "And when you stand praying, forgive. And if you have aught against any, that your Father also, which is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses." Mm-hmm. So today once again, today the topic is forgiveness. So we're going to jump right in it. And we're going to ask my bros to kind of, what is forgiveness to y'all? What explain to us a little bit about what is forgiveness. And go ahead, take it, Josh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Josh already over there.
I mean, I just wrote a couple of things down. Like I said, based around the forgiveness definition that you just gave, based upon Google, it's a decision based upon a deliberation to release something. We're going to say it's forgiveness, whether it's stress, whether it's you use the word harm, whatever that thing is, you're letting it go or removing the obstacle. So I would say in that regard, it's allowing yourself to move past a certain point or event, a certain happening. Now I do got some questions with that, but I want to slide it over to my brother, Mr. Favors, see what he has to say about forgiveness.
Forgiveness is choosing not to hold something, of course, above somebody's head, or just help you to really release an ill feeling, right? That's weighing you down, right? So forgiveness, of course, like you said, it's intentional, but forgiveness is just letting it go. That's all it is, right? It's love. It's a form of love. It's an action of love. That's what forgiveness is. In short, that's
Frozen. Let it go.
There we go. Let it go. All right, what you got, Lloyd? What you got?
All right, so when we say forgiveness is part of mental health,
I would say it's definitely, it can definitely be contrary to your mental health if you don't learn it, and learn it soon, and that right early.
It's seriously a part of mental health.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like put it like this. Making people pay, right, or making people be responsible for your happiness causes a lot of depression. Right. So that's where that's a part of where what forgiveness does for you. It's like, if you continue to make people, they say like, all right, they did me wrong, so I deserve an apology, and I'm not gonna be happy until I get one. All right. That's that right there. All it does is they're going about with their lives, and like they're living life. sometimes they're not even thinking about you at all, right? They might not even.
Right.
Only time they might be thinking about the situation that happened is when they see you, and then other times when they see you, it's not even in their head, right? So that making people be responsible for making you happy is horrible. So it's good for you to let the situation go, right? So that's one way it's a part of your mental health, because it's just all it does is causes more anxiety, and then anxiety can lead into depression. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
So let me ask a dumb question then. So is forgiveness personal?
Yes, heavily.
Most definitely,
Heavily
bro.
personal.
You just said I
Heavily.
made somebody else responsible for my happiness, though. So I gotta make my happiness personal.
Yes, it's personal. Definitely personal. That's between you and God.
So that means if they don't ever say nothing else to me about it, even if they don't ever know, I gotta forgive. It's like having a toothache, right? I'm the one that can put the Orajel on it to make it feel better, but I can't expect you to come and, hey, you look like your tooth hurts. Can I put something on it for you?
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Hey, bro, it's basically like you said, it's a decision, man, that you have to make. And that decision saying, hey, I'm sorry that I did such and such a thing. They may never say nothing to you. I'll be like, man, get out my face. I ain't trying to hit. But guess what? You did your part, bro.
That's it.
Right.
That's all you can do.
Right.
They may not ever forgive you. And boy, have y'all not met somebody be like, man, I don't care what they say, bro. Ain't nothing gonna change, man. I don't care who said it, bro. Whatever, bro. I don't care. And it's people really out there who don't care.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and give yourself that little dose of dopamine, man.
There you go. That feel good.
Right. Yeah, go ahead. Because you know that you did the right thing, man. Go ahead and give yourself that extra helping of, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of help, a little bit of happiness. Go ahead and give yourself that. By through forgiving, you know that you have made the right choice, and it helps make you happy. It helps break the cycle of depression and anxiety by you doing something you know that's good and right.
That also helped with growth too, bro. That lets you know how much you have growth. Just like early on during the conversation, before we started recording, what Josh was saying about as a little kid, you know, you apologize and y'all be told, you know, to make up. As an adult, who trying to apologize as an adult and make up, bro?
The people that want to grow.
Don't let your
people
pride
who want to grow.
Mm-hmm. Don't let your pride stunt your growth. I know it's hard. Because the thing is, you may not be wrong, or you may not be perceived as what was wrong, or the person that was wrong. Everybody can't take the high road. Somebody like what you said. I don't care what they say. But you know, some people like drinking poison. Some people like chains. It's better to release the weight. Don't stunt your growth. Just like the plant, you cut open the tree. You got some lean years, some rings that's tight together, and then you got some where you grew a lot. Them short rings can be them years that you held on to that non-forgiveness. So you couldn't grow. You couldn't achieve yourself. You couldn't reach certain goals. And you was wondering, talking to God, man, I'm doing everything you said. We ain't gotta get into that, though. We ain't gotta get into that.
I felt that. Look. I felt that. Like I thought I was doing good. No, you did this thing, and it stopped you.
Yes.
Say what?
I was gonna say, what did KB say? He said, I ain't got no chains on me.
That one thing could be holding you back.
That's it. Introspection.
Quick question.
That's why it's so important.
Yes, sir. So is it hard to forgive?
Ooh, woo! That's the definition. That's when you gotta go to Google. That's subjective.
Is it
what is hard? I mean, but is it hard? Is it hard for the athlete that runs hurdles 3 times a day to get to the 200 and do the 200-meter hurdles? Or is it hard for you out there, your Air Force Ones just soaking wet to run through the same hurdles? It's a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Have you been strengthening that forgiveness muscle to where when it's time you can give it away?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, if I make it a habit of saving or investing and I have plenty, notice I'm saying it in these ways, but we're still talking about forgiveness. Okay, when it comes time to give it away, I have it to give. if you one of the people that don't practice saving or strengthening that muscle, it's going to be a little more difficult for you when it comes to that. So, I mean, I want you to look at it in that regard. How heavy or how strong is your forgiveness muscle? And we got this thing called grace, where it's an undeserved favor, where you're given something that you don't deserve. So I'm like, come on. Are you a person that has grace? Have you experienced that? So I mean,
yes, sir.
Me and grace, I mean, I can give you forgiveness, even if you don't deserve it. I deserve it,
yes,
so
sir.
I'm gonna give it to you. But if you're not there, but then again, at the same time, can I blame you? Maybe you don't know forgiveness. Maybe you don't know grace. Maybe that isn't part of your perspective. You're part of that eye for an eye.
Mm-hmm.
You did me, I did you, and we ain't never got to talk again. Because what I think I've seen a meme like that. That's their superpower. They're ready at any moment to never talk to somebody again.
Oh man, I've been seeing that meme. Like, yeah, like that's my toxic trait. Is I'm just like, saying? What? Right.
For one, we celebrate toxic traits, but that's another podcast. But as far as with forgiveness, like, do you celebrate the opportunity to release a weight, or are you trying to get stronger in your toxicity?
Hey, bro, just think about this too, man. Through all this going on, even with the pandemic, bro, you really don't have time to waste like this. You know what I'm saying? You could not speak to people for a while, and you know the next day the person can be like gone just like that. Is it really worth? You know what I'm saying? Like taking these things for granted. Like, is it really worth being mad and stuff like that towards each other or being mean?
What do you value? Being right or being present?
Yeah.
Me and my brother Nehemiah had a disagreement. If I value our friendship, I can be right and be the bigger person because I value his friendship. I value his presence. But if I remember my values, if I value being right, I just post that meme and let him figure out who I'm talking
to. So do you think it takes long? How long do you think it takes for somebody to forgive somebody? Could it be instant, or it may take a while, or it depends on the situation?
Look, nah. I mean, bro. What? All right. I mean, I'm not gonna ask that question, but it's like, man, because it needs to be instant. Let me put it like that. It needs to be instant because that's something. It's like it's a requirement by God to forgive people and stuff like that, bro. Like to not hold a grudge against anybody, right? To have love for people, right? I mean, how many times are you supposed to forgive your brother? All right, it's what is it? Seven times seven, like a lot. Look, a lot. Come on, and that's every day, right? How many times? Like it's something that you're supposed to be able to.
Lord, increase our faith.
That's what they said too. But when you say forgive people, or how long should it say forgive? Do you mean actually forgive or get over the hurt or the feelings or the anger that come with having to forgive or having to, or what goes with whatever situation? What is the real question with that? That you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess that kind of depends because it's kind of where you getting into now. To me, seems like he talking about the process, ain't it? J. Cole.
I was gonna say he's navigating that way. But I mean, I understand where he's coming from as far as, okay, in the spiritual aspect, depending, based upon your belief system, it should be instant to, give it away based upon your beliefs,
that's true.
if you're believing in that regard. But if you don't share in those beliefs, that's what you alluded to earlier, what is the situation as far as how quickly one can be forgiven? And I mean, it could be a matter of perspective. Because the question that came to mind with what you read earlier is what harmed you? Because if it's something that we may consider a minor offense, okay, yeah, that's more. Man, I stepped on your shoe. You know, I bumped you. You know, I caused you to spill your drink a little bit. You know, no harm, no foul. So yeah, ain't no big deal. You got it. You got that forgiveness. Forgive and forget. We ain't gonna worry about it.
Hold on. I see that finger.
Yeah, I see the finger. I see it. I was gonna say that's good.
It was holding it for a minute.
All right, so you know, like either last year or the year before last, you remember in the media when the Caucasian woman shot the African American guy?
Yeah,
and the brother, when she testified, the brothers they asked him, did he have something to say? He was like, I forgive you, and he wanted to hug her. A lot of people was like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, because like, man, you killed my brother. Why in the world would you hug her? She killed your brother, bro. And they was making it seem like she killed your brother, and she knew she knew that was she wanted to do. So how could you just hop up and go hug somebody like that? Between us, like, do you think you could have did that instantly, or would that took a little bit of time?
That
I definitely know you probably had to be in that place, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you would just get up and go hug them right then and there, but you know, if you've been taught, hey, you got to forgive, you know, stuff like that. Forgive. But if you hadn't been taught, people gonna be like, boy, oh my bad. If you hadn't been taught, you know, people ain't gonna be saying, forget that girl, she killed my brother. But that's deep, man. You know, that's losing somebody you ain't seeing every single day. So is really forgiving that instant idea to be really the instant, or it just depends on that certain situation or how deep the situation is? Fellas.
you got that night. I'm thinking now because it's like I'm thinking because it's like, bro, man, it's about the process for me, because to say that I'm over the hurt and the pain that comes with it, that's a little different from saying I forgive you. Forgiving you, it's like I'm not gonna hold it against you. But like saying like I'm over this hurt and this pain for when I see you and you caused that, it's like it's hard to it's like how like the word talking about dividing this the spirit and the soul, right? How do you see how fine it is to like really divide the spirit and the soul? It's like they're almost like this, but in reality they really like this, right? So it's like, how do you divide those two things, the feelings from the actual forgiveness itself? Like that can be a tough situation for something like that. Am I making sense? Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say separate the two. I mean, that's what I was thinking. In my mind, I was like, how long do you want to drink the poison? Because you're not hurting her by hating her. You may be justified in your hate, but how long do you want to drink the poison?
Right.
And like you're saying, there's a grieving process.
Right.
And then there's me holding on to hate. My hating her does nothing to her. Right. So in my mind, what I'm saying is my brother is gone. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Not here anymore. I don't have to like you. But me holding on to that grudge, me holding on to that poison, me holding on to that hatred is going to erode me. But I can grieve separately. Like I said, it still hurts. He's not here. But I don't have to continue to hate you. I don't have to continue to, like I said, so in that regard, my forgiveness, or what I'm hearing when he says that, is not for you. That forgiveness is for me. So that I, like you saying, separating the soul and the spirit, I can now grieve in peace for my brother without hating you. So that when I'm done healing from that, I'm a whole person. I'm still not harboring something. Because I mean, like they say, there's justice. There's justice where you get what you deserve. And you know, like I said, there's grace, or we'll say mercy, where you don't get what you deserve. And in grace, you get what you don't deserve. So me forgiving you, you may not have deserved it, but I'm going to give you grace. Because in turn, I can heal now and I can move on with my life. whereas you may get to go sit in a cell and think about what you've done. That's just the way I was thinking about
it. Two wrongs don't make it right, right? We done heard that before.
Nah, but to make it even, now it's funny.
Hey, eye for an eye, bro.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll be spilling blood for the rest of time.
Yeah. I can say I wouldn't hate.
I'm sorry.
I can agree. I'm agreeing with Josh. I can say that I wouldn't hate, but to get over those feelings like that, that's a process.
Grief. Because
have we all struggled with forgiveness in some point of our life?
Major.
Heck yeah. Yes. Heck yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a damn. Oh yeah. Like you said, it's a decision.
Oh yeah.
A decision. Just like love. A lot of people who get, yeah, I love you, and then you're not as happy about it. And then it's like, okay, do you still love me? Do you love me if you can't change me? Do you love me if I don't do the things that you like? Will you love me when I'm on your last nerve? Will you love me when I continue to go against you? Will you love me? There was somebody that did something on this big win thing one time. They wrote a book about it, that loved you regardless, they say in spite of. But forgiveness in my mind is along those same things. If I say I love you, like I'm married, I love my wife, but that love isn't a conditional thing.
Right.
Because if you're saying forgiveness, is it an unconditional forgiveness, or is this as long as you fit these three categories, I can forgive you. Otherwise, chop it up. So, guy, he did it. We still spit on him, and he still did it.
Watch it now, bro.
I'm just saying. Whether you, like I said, whether you subscribe to that or not, at some point in time, somebody has given you grace or has forgave you or loved you through something. So I have to agree with Nehemiah. Is the pain gonna go away? Not instantly, but I can make a decision despite how I'm feeling, despite what's going on, to not continue down a path that ultimately is going to destroy me and not you.
Man, can I tell you
getting vengeance and things like that? Yes, sir.
So do you think?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
Oh yeah.
You sure?
I was like,
go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, I was gonna say this. Like, do you think it costs you something would it cost something if you remain angry and resentful and vengeance?
Oh yeah, cost you peace.
Peace of mind, bro.
Yeah, it costs you a
lot. Too expensive. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Nehemiah?
Man, I was gonna so this what happened, I think yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Man, so the gym I contract at, right? Man, this dude, this man owed me some money, right? This man owed me some money. So I provided a service for a client, and bruh cheated me out of 4 months of pay from this one person, right?
Oh, nah, bro.
Yeah, man.
Get ready, bro. Get ready, bro. Man. You with my money.
And I mean, bro, it was, I'm gonna tell you something. I was like, it takes some, like, you realize like how much love you have. I'm gonna say, first of all, for God, right? Because in the midst of the conversation, I was like, bro, I'm finna shut up. Because in order for me to stay saved, I'm gonna stop talking right now. Like, I was having one of those moments. For me, I was like angry, like, bro, what you doing? Like, you sitting here, you talking about you saved and you of God and all this stuff, but you won't give me the money that you owe me. Like, what you doing, bro? Like, I was like, you really tripping, like, for real. But it's like, you gotta have some. I was in that moment, I was still able to, through God, right? I was still able to be like, you know what? You have a good day. And like really mean, you have a good day. Not going crazy or fighting the man or doing anything like that. But it's like, bro, those feelings were still there throughout the day, throughout the rest of that day, because I was early in the day. I still had to go train people and all that stuff, bro. But it was like it was still there. So, bro, you gotta have some serious love, and forgiveness and grace and all these things going through like situations like that, bro. Like it's something really serious when it comes down to that stuff, for real.
Man, that's true, bro. What if you run into a stubborn person though, bro?
Can't do nothing about it. Can't even about them. Can't do nothing about them. Cause that's a situation. Can't do nothing about them. You gotta do it for yourself, man. That's really what it is. Doing it for yourself.
Man, that's weak, man. That's weak, man. Y'all two on here talking about weakness, man. If you forgiving people, that's weak, man. What's up with that? Is forgiving people weak a sign of weakness?
It's one of the strongest things you can have.
How? Because when you talk, you know what I'm saying? When you talk as a child, well, not always taught as a child, but, dealing with different situations, even going through school, somebody hit them, you hit them back. Somebody stole your money, what you gonna do? Just gonna let them steal your money, you ain't gonna ask for it back? Are you gonna forgive him? Like, can I have my money back? And he said, no, get out my face. He said, no, get out of my face. You ain't getting no money.
Mm-hmm.
Is that considered weak?
No, that's actually strong. The reason why is because it goes against your very nature. Like the first thing a lot of people think of is when somebody do something, like you saying, like you was taught, or some people are taught to hit somebody when they get hit back. But like our nature is like easy. It's easy for us to get mad and like go off and do something, but it's hard to really control ourselves. That's really what it is, because it's discipline. It's discipline to go against the very laws of how you're made up. And we, like you say, biblically, they say we're the children of wrath, or we have a nature of wrath. So it's actually strong to go against the norm, like that.
Well, would you say sometimes people expect a reaction?
Most of the time.
Yeah, right. Like they expect you to react a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Most of the time. People be looking for that type stuff. That's why some people do certain things to try to get a reaction out of you. So that's a part of it.
Hey, prime example, man. You get pulled over by police. He talking to you all kind of ways. You ain't even did anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? You gonna forget him, and he talking noise to you, treating you less than a human being.
I've had to do it.
Right.
Definitely have had to do it. I'm telling you.
If it's that time where you be like, yes, sir, I understand. Yes, sir. Okay.
I don't know about the yes, sir part, but it's like, I'm going to shut up. I don't know about the yes, sir, but I'm going to shut up, though, because if I keep talking something, you know what I'm saying, it ain't going to end the best way. You know what I'm saying? It just ain't going to end the best way. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to forgive this situation.
But sometimes, not just only police, but people can provoke you to that point, man.
If you let them.
Then that's when you, yeah, that's true. You if you allow that to happen.
Yeah. Be angry and sin not, letting the sun go down upon your wrath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey.
Normally when
true,
you get
right there, bro.
When you introduce anger, logic goes out the window. You're acting instinctually. So you say forgiveness, and he mentioned the word discipline. Again, how strong is that muscle? They say self-preservation is human instinct. It's a basic instinct.
Mm-hmm.
All of us are 3 black males living in America, and you mentioned a police officer and what's going on right now. The way we were taught, or I'll say, speaking simply for myself, we're introduced to a different way of thinking, a different time frame, whether right, wrong, or indifferent. If we react a certain way, we, in turn, it appears that we forfeit or can forfeit our lives or an opportunity to remove ourselves from that situation. So I would say forgiveness or understanding could be something that potentially saves your life, whether it's literal or not. And also awareness of self. How can you provoke me if I'm aware of what you're doing? If I'm aware of the outcome? Am I going to say naturally or instinctively, my body may not react a certain way, but then he said discipline. I'm going to allow myself or thought patterns to subject that thing, to allow myself to stay clear-headed because I understand what you're trying to do. And for what you said, you calling it weakness, who is stronger? The man that gets slapped and he slaps him back, or the one that gets slapped and heaps hot coals on him by saying, I understand why you slapped me. Did it hurt? Sure. But in my mind, I'm going to say I'm stronger when I look on you with compassion, to where I try to understand why you react that way. Because they say most people, even if you don't have an extensive vernacular or you know a lot of words, is you start to use profanity, or you start to say, oh, when kids say, oh, you're an applehead, oh, you're a doofus. Whereas the person that's comfortable within themselves and has the vernacular, I don't have to talk to you that way because now I know I got you cornered. So I pity you instead. Yeah. So how does that make me less than you? Because anybody, like they say, with using the situation that you brought up, that lady pulled the trigger, and if we can speculate, I don't know all of the details, but her hatred, do you think it's heaping hot coals on her head by him hugging her and saying, I forgive you? Who's going to hurt more from that? He's not released. And now she's wondering, in the hatred that I pulled that trigger with, that took his brother away from him. And yet he forgives me. He shows me love. He shows me compassion. Who's stronger? I had every right to be upset and angry, vengeful. And yet I chose compassion. So who's stronger? Are you stronger than me because you can lift the weight?
Man, so how do you begin the process of forgiveness? What could be a step to start that process?
Put like this. What is your core values? Basically, what do you deem as right and what's wrong? That's really where it should start. Because what happens is, in order to break the cycle of basically anger or going into hate or making the wrong decision to not forgive, is to think about something that is greater, right? Greater than the hatred that you have, greater than what the initial value or the quickest reaction or the easiest thing to do. So to start, the question was, how do you start the process, right?
Right.
Well, started with something that's stronger than the initial reaction. So my start would be, what would so it's cliche, like I think about God. Let me put it like that. Because when situations come up, I do my best to handle things through God and what His Word says. Because a scripture will come up in your head, right? When whatever comes up, if you studied enough and God done showed you, you know what I'm saying, explain things, you have the lessons that you've been taught, the situations don't come up, and then that's what you do. You react in the way that you was taught. So when someone's doing you wrong, what are you supposed to do? Bless them that curse you, right? Somebody cussing you out, or someone is cursing you in a different manner, you need to bless them, right? The anecdote that I gave you a little bit earlier, at the end of the conversation, when it's time for me to leave, it's like, have a nice day, right? I bless somebody that cursed me. It might not be as spectacular as you might think, but it was so easy, right? Look, that's $600, right, out of my pocket. I want you to hear me, right? $600, right? I got stuff. I could have put that back into my business. I just could have done things with $600, right? You hear what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's what I chose was God, how to start my process of forgiveness. Like, bro, you know what? I'm not even going to react the way the devil want me to react, because it was a spirit of greed in that situation. So I chose the right way to handle it, which is I'm going to let this go. I'm not going to react a crazy way. I forgive you. Me not holding this above your head, me having the grace or displaying the grace that God gave me, right? Which within grace, there has to be forgiveness inside of grace, right? So to have the state of mind of, you know what, bro, you good. Like I'm finna let this go. To be the light that I'm called to be, then I'm finna choose God in this situation, which is to have grace for this person, right? That's how I start my process of forgiving, which is letting this go, releasing the control that I would like to have over this situation. That is one of the biggest ways I have learned how to forgive, right? It's relinquishing the control that we desire to have, the outcome that we desire. If we detach ourselves from that outcome that we desire, it will allow us to have the forgiveness and the love, the respect. It will allow us to do a lot of things, which is practicing detachment from the things that we want, right? And acting in reality, right? Listen to what I'm saying, right? Taking yourself outside of your emotions, right? So being mindful of what's going on, being mindful that, okay, for me to think in this situation, if I act crazy, if I act out of anger, it's gonna be a lot of different things that's gonna be going on. I'm a sin, right? Well, first of all, I'm a sin, right? And we don't want that. I'm gonna destroy, just using my situation, I'm gonna destroy one of my streams of income, right? If I blow up in this situation, this is thousands of dollars out of my pocket, and I would have to reestablish this money somewhere else, right? So you have to detach yourself away from the desired outcome that you would like in order for you to make the correct decision. Okay, so being mindful, right? Calming yourself down, recognizing the emotions that you're having, and then thinking about what would happen if I acted in these emotions, right? So this is the process, right? Or one of the process that I would use in order to invoke the feeling or the action of forgiveness. Stop, analyze the situation, recognize the emotions that I'm having, then see which emotion and route is best for the situation for me to come out on top. I literally had to do this in this situation because I'm going to mess up in a lot of different ways. For me jumping on this man and going crazy, I'm going to destroy a lot of different points in my life. And I'm working too hard to mess up these points in my life. All I have to do is stop, recognize the situation. What would Jesus do? And then keep going. That's the process. That's one of the process that you can use to invoke forgiveness, right? To help you better overcome the situation. That's it.
Because I was about to ask you too. Like, I know we always want to get hit not only the people who believe in God, for those who may not believe, what type of process they can go through. But you basically kind of broke it down and then evaluate the situation, make the right choices and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And you definitely got to want. I guess you got to want to be able to do that.
Yeah. There we go.
Because I know y'all probably like came into contact with some people like they ain't trying to hear nothing nobody saying. They're like, "What? You with $600 on the line, bro? That could have went way south." But
real quick,
what's your character, man?
Right.
That shows your character, who you are. Right. And that one little situation could have messed you if you would have jumped on that guy. Messed up everything, like you said.
Everything.
Oh, Favors, he jumped on somebody at the gym. What? No, he didn't. Yes, he did, bro. He ain't coming up in my gym.
You know right. Ain't he blah, blah, blah. Man.
Right.
So much.
I just think the thing that you did in that, we'll say, just using that particular situation, is you didn't react emotionally. You use logic. You analyze the situation.
Yes.
So, I mean, that shows a level of discipline there.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if it had been an emotional reaction in that moment, you've received your payment.
Right.
You said, "Oh yeah, I handled mine," but like you're saying, long run, I just destroyed this stream of income and any other stream I had coming out of this same opportunity. So now I have to go and reestablish. But see, you took the time to, okay, emotion is rising. Let's put that in check. Let's analyze the situation. Is this action going to yield the result that I want?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I may. Right. I was going to say, yes, I may in this moment, but he'll be returning. I won't. And now I've destroyed an opportunity at income. And based upon what Coach Lloyd just said, if word gets around, hey, this is a hothead. It could sabotage certain opportunities in the same area. So, okay. But logic would say, it's $600 worth an opportunity to make 6,000, 60,000.
Right.
I'll let you have this. I'll give you grace in this opportunity. And based upon my belief system, I'm going to get much greater opportunities now because I passed this test. I didn't allow emotion. I used a strategy. Okay, cool. Who's to say at any point in time down the road, I wronged another man, so you still could get that answer.
Yes, listen, Coach Lloyd.
We see.
I was gonna ask. I know we already said like is forgiveness a sign of weakness, but is that kind of look? Well, it's kind of like the same thing. What I'm about to say, but is that kind of look like a pump type thing? Because you know how they say like you letting everything slide, man, like a pushover. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Like, oh man, you just let people run. Oh, not pushover, but like run over you. Now, we trying to make it. Oh, I was just saying like, how we explain it. We basically letting people know. We ain't saying just let people run over you now. You know what I'm saying? But be firm and be like, hey, it could have went, like you said, it could go the other way, but that's not me. We're gonna take it this way instead. So you get that other person, you know what I'm saying? Some stuff could go down. But we just let people know, hey, because we forgave you don't mean that I'm a punk or I'm just gonna let you run over me and I'm just let you keep doing even though they keep trying to keep doing it over and over, they gotta get to a point where like, hey, listen, this gotta stop. Or it ain't like you gonna beat them up or nothing, but you just gotta let them know you still putting your foot down. So we let y'all know if us three brothers forgive you, we ain't no punks now. We just let them know.
Yeah.
We know a better man. We know a man.
There we go.
That's it. Doing the same. Dude could have cussed you slap out, man. You know what I'm saying? And you could take that. You be like, okay, appreciate it. You probably hit on the phone, John. People might have cuss you out on the phone or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Hang up. And you be like, ah. And sometimes it makes you feel the type of way like, bruh.
Yeah, it can.
Some people had cussed at me, and I was like, man, my mom and daddy don't even cuss at me, bro. How in the world, like, it could get to that point, like, man, that's disrespectful as ever. Yeah. But you gotta pay it. But you be like, all right, that's old. You're like, oh, okay. Because, man, just think about it. But you work at a school, man, you don't think them little kids gonna cuss you out?
I used to. So yeah, I used to.
Look, thank God for grace.
There we go.
Healthy boundaries are good too. Just so you know, everybody got a limit. And I mean, in a situation like that, most of the time, as far as when it's with kids, it's probably something, behavior that they've learned, or it's an emotional reaction. And I mean, like you said, I've worked in the call center. I've taken the calls. I've had people that are, keyboard warriors, and they gonna do this, they gonna do that. But I mean, most of the time, what I began as my career went forward is I found out that them cussing at me, it wasn't even about me. They mom was sick and they couldn't afford to pay the insurance because they were paying for her medication. It was more so the root was about their mother. I had a gentleman being racist on the phone. How he knew I was a brother, I'll never know. But he was soliciting a reaction and I wasn't giving it to him. And then I had another gentleman that was promoting a certain thing, trying to get some information out of me that I knew I couldn't give. And he was completely in the wrong. And I started to allow my emotion, making the call personal, to come in. And I had gotten angry to the point that like I was on the phone shaking, like I was completely enraged to that point. But as soon as the call ended, it's like I would probably never speak to that individual again, but I would allow in again my emotion to start to dictate my reaction instead of using logic and saying, I'm the power player in this position. He needs something from me. And I need only to go through these certain things. And if he doesn't meet this criteria, again, control, discipline. But like you're saying, you're being push. I mean, kids, disrespecting you, whatever the case may be. And as, Nehemiah alluded to earlier, what is your value system? Do I value my integrity? Do I value, my core values, or is it discipline and different things like that? And I mean, like I said, it was a process. It ain't like I just woke up one day and everybody cussed me out on the phone. I was like, it ain't even about me. I get a phone call at 7 a.m, getting cussed out about this. And they're like, it can't be. Ain't nobody waking up that angry. Just because. But I had to grow to that point. And so, I mean, what I would say is in the process, what may be perceived as weak, they may value respect or something like that, and they feel disrespected. Allow yourself to grow in that process. Don't stunt your growth. Allow yourself to go through, like you're saying, grow in grace, grow in opportunity. And whereas you see, Nehemiah with the situation that he had, where he was rightful in his reaction, because this is something that's owed to him from a service rendered. But through growth, he was able to handle that differently than he may have, 5-10 years ago. It might have been, all right, bro, knuckle up. Like, there's not going to be any more discussion. You owe me money. If I can't get money, I'm going to get it out of flesh. And the chips may fall where they may. It is what it is. But
oh boy.
But instead, it's a different opportunity. So I would say in this same regard, it's just one of those, with forgiveness, there's certain levels to it. There's going to be certain situations that are going to come up that it's going to be an opportunity for you to level up. And you may not pass it the first time, but allow yourself to undergo the process. And each time you get a different opportunity, try to utilize that opportunity to grow so that the next time this happens, you can provide grace in that situation, or it's more, you can make that decision. That would just be something I say on the flip side. Because I mean, weakness in my mind is perspective. What do you value?
There you go.
All right.
And I mean, that can go in any number of ways. The athlete that's strong physically, but not mentally, can be valued on a football field or on a basketball court. But emotionally, we'll say in their marriage or something, it's terrible. They're an infant. Or the person that may not be naturally strong as far as in the weight room, but they have mental strength, emotional strength, or awareness. That's something to think about.
So how can we?
You muted. Yo, check your mic, Lloyd. There you go. You back.
There we go.
Yeah, there was a car coming through. But how can we incorporate forgiveness in our life?
Make a decision. What is my mental health worth? What is my self worth? Or we can put it real simple. You ain't been forgiving people. How does it been working out for you?
All right.
if you want something different, you got to do something different. And I mean, we could throw a lot of scientific terms. We can throw a lot of data. Ultimately, it's going to be a decision.
Shoot, just think about this. A big argument. Guess what happened during a big argument when you let those emotions go out? Different stuff come out the mouth, you know, and y'all just going at it. Boom, boom, boom. Some of that stuff can be hurtful to the point where you be like, man, that's how you really felt about me? You know what I'm saying? But you mad, angry, and that can hurt a person. Definitely. So
it can be crippling. What you got, Favors?
I really was gonna say that not forgiving people gives a lot of power to other people. It allows them to just have control over your emotions and your mental state and your well-being, basically. You see a lot of people get into a lot of depressed, a lot of crazy, or just a lot of different emotional states or mental states. It's all because they have not forgiven a situation or have not let go of a situation, right? It's just like, people that have been raped, right? It's like why people turn and do some of the things that they have done or not allow certain actions to happen in their lives. Like, man, I ain't trying to go that deep, but I'm gonna just
bro, do it. Somebody needs this.
I mean, it's like, man,
come on, open it
it's
up.
like people that have been it's like a female to a male, right? As far as like being molested or being raped or something like that, right? Why they let this isolated incident form this generalization to all men, right? That all men are just horrible people, or like it's just so many different things where unforgiveness causes females to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna start dating women just because they haven't let go of a situation. This one incident that happened with one person. It might have been a couple of people, right? But it's still, you haven't let go or forgiven the situation. So it allows you to go down this dark path for yourself. And it manifests itself in so many different ways, right? It's like trust issues for a lot of people, right? Like somebody cheated on you and you haven't really forgiven the situation and process. What's up?
Oh, I was about to say, like, but what about the girl who have been molested? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could, you know what I'm saying? Like, for most of the girls who, if they have been molested, they ain't gonna want you to touch you at all. They ain't gonna really want to be like, you barely sometimes even have a conversation. Because at certain points, you can say something sweet like, girl, you so pretty. Maybe the dude told her that he did that night. He tried her and, did some stuff like that. So how could you actually, I know that's definitely traumatizing, you know what I'm saying, to be
PTSD.
Bruh, some people be close to the person.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they be it could be a relative, a friend of the relative, and they mess around with the girl or whatever.
It can be
for that.
Be your own
that's
brother.
Traumatizing for you. Able.
Yeah.
And for you. Yeah, and it could be, hey, that's of course that's forgiveness, but that, even like we said earlier on before, that person would still have to, I guess they have to talk to someone to kind of help them get to that point to forgive. And how to.
Go ahead. I mean, it's fixing. It's really about fixing the perception or core values in this situation, right? It's really about going back to that. So the thought patterns that you have to break is like basically the the language that how you speak to yourself, your internal thought patterns. Like, it's like basically helping people with the anxiety that comes with this situation, like seeing situations that might come up again, or what we feel like is coming up again. We have to like really redo these situations and not just this generalization on everything and everybody. Like, you just built up this hate, right, for certain people. Well, it's like certain people, right? What will happen is certain women, I've seen it for myself, where someone has been molested in the past and their thought pattern now, they're gay now, right? It's female, and it's like, bro, I don't trust no men, right? It's like, can't no man do me.
Oh yeah.
I can treat a woman better than the man can treat a woman. It's like, bro, like you really dogging it. Like, I don't think no man can do it better than. It's like, you really hate men like that? Like, every man is this one person that did this one action to you. That, I mean, that's not like, I'm not like trying to make it funny.
No,
but it's like, that's what has happened. Like, just language that you have in your head now, the way you feel about, you just labeled everybody like this, right? So it's really going down to your language, and then it's going to go down to your core beliefs, right? Your value system, right? Do you value God in the way that you should value God? What is your higher power in this situation now? All right, I gotta bring them into it, because it's like, a lot of people, if they don't think with us on a spiritual level, when it comes down to what right and wrong is, it's like, most people, they're going to choose a darker path. They're going to have this horrible reaction to the situation. So what's your anchor in this situation? What's the thing that's going to keep you where you need to be emotionally? What's going to keep you on the right path? What is the anchor? Which is the thought pattern, which is the value of, I value God more. I value what he says and what he feels that we should do, or what he tells me we should do. I value that more. That's my anchor. A lot of people don't have that anchor. It's just free will. So it's going back to that. It's going back to being reprobated, basically, not holding God's knowledge within their head. They saw it and they said, I don't feel like we have to do all of that. And then they went the other way. Whatever they wanted to do, that's what God allowed them to do. So we going into Romans, basically. We talking about Romans 1, really. So we going into that situation. So they didn't want to hold on to God's knowledge. That's the result of it. You having all these situations going on. But go ahead.
I'll just say trauma. Trauma is going to alter reality.
Right.
Your reality is going to shape your beliefs. Your beliefs is going to shape your behavior. Your behavior, in turn, is going to shape as far as decision making, which is then going to feed back into your reality, which is going to feed back into your belief system. And then now you have that cycle. Now, I mean, somebody that is known somebody personally that's been molested, or that's been raped, or that's been taken advantage of, a lot of it boils down to, like you're saying, you feed into an emotion of hate because it makes you feel empowered, because the event made you feel powerless. So you turn to something like that, or you begin to generalize, because logic says that if I say all men are bad, it gives me a reason not to do anything with men, because that's the thing. Again, going back to the very top of the podcast, what harmed you? So your operating systems have been altered to protect yourself, basic human instinct. So go back to the trauma, as was mentioned earlier. What's the root thing? Have you forgiven yourself for the situation, even though you may be the victim? Have you forgiven the person? Or is it the trauma of it is like, every time I look at a man, it looks like the person that hurt me? Because I did male. I didn't say Jacob was the person that did it.
Right.
I said man or men. So now everybody that wears that label gets this energy. I felt powerless, but when I hated it, it empowered me. Okay, well, let's get back to the root of that. You felt powerless. Forgive yourself for feeling powerless because you were taken advantage of in this situation. And they say in most cases, I don't know the exact percentage, but it's normally a relative, or it's normally somebody that is trusted. And
Really close.
since the top of it is forgiveness, as we were talking about, as far as the pre-show, you can't be betrayed by somebody that you don't value or that you don't trust. So on top of that, we're talking about an even deeper trauma, because not only is it somebody I trusted that I could be vulnerable with, that I didn't feel would take advantage of me, but now I have this traumatic experience. So my defensive mechanisms in my brain come up, like certain traumas at certain levels, like you're saying, PTSD and some of these other things. Your body will simply block it out, like you don't remember the event completely happening, because it's a way of protecting yourself, your sanity. So let's get back to the root. Forgive ourselves, which is one of the absolute hardest things to do, because you know all your junk, you know your thought patterns, you know what you do, whether you think you deserve it, forgiveness or not. So let's get to the root of that so we can forgive that. So now you can forgive yourself and start the healing process from that event. So now we don't have to go down that darker path that we spoke about earlier, or that was mentioned. You can become a whole person, understanding that you're no longer powerless or any of those things. That had nothing to do with it. That was an event in your book, not your whole book. It doesn't have to be your whole story. So as you start to alter those belief systems, those core values, that cycle is broken, and you're creating a more healthy cycle, mentally healthy cycle. Because I mean, how hard is it to tell somebody that's endured something like that to just say, forget about it, just forgive them? Not that easy. I can say it, but it's just like the person that's never smoked telling the smoker, man, just put it down. Nobody that's ever experienced any type of addiction or level of something that has hooked so deep in you is not something that you feel you're in control of. To just tell somebody to stop if it's not giving you anything to fill it with. Nehemiah says he always has to bring in God. And this is, like he said, that's his anchor. That's the thing that pulls him through those things. That's the thing, that the outside force, or the thing, the inside force that gives him that strength to overcome these different things. But if you didn't choose God in whatever aspect you see it, whatever that thing is, whether it's yourself, whether it's the forgiveness, whether it's the empowerment, something has to change in order for you to reach that level again, different levels. I called you a meathead, and then we laughed about it, and we started playing later. But my wife left me for another woman. What do you think that does to a person? This person left me and took my children. How can I forgive her? He left me for a younger woman. He left me for my best friend. They took all my money. My business partners cut me out. How can I forgive somebody when they've hurt me on the level of that? It's betrayal. It's deep. This is hardening. This is hurting. This is where I put trust in things. I've given these people of myself, my substance, my time. And you're telling me to forgive. That's why we say make the decision and let it start with you. Because forgiveness, as I understand it, is an inward thing. It has nothing to do with the other person or the outside force of the situation. It's going to come back to you. Go look in the mirror. You got to value that before you can value anything else in order to forgive. And understand that forgiveness is a foundational piece. It's not the twilight. That's something that you build on. So yes, an event happened, but let's compartmentalize, or let's give it perspective. I'm not saying it didn't hurt. I'm not saying that it won't. Certain things aren't going to be certain triggers, but you can heal from those things. You can overcome those things. You're stronger than those things. So don't be trapped in a situation. Like that person that keep taking your parking spot at the job. If you go to a 9-to-5, and they always getting in your parking spot, that's your parking spot, and you get mad about it. So instead of just being mad in that situation, which is justified emotion, you mad about it for a week, for a month, for a couple months, and now it's become part of your behavior. It's like, man, Josh, why are you always mad? And it all started with Larry taking my parking spot. That's why I always say, make it a great day. Make a decision. I ain't say because I made it a great day that everything went my way that day.
Right.
I'm not saying because I forgave somebody that everything changed in that moment. But what I did was I opened a door that gave me access to a more liberating option, rather than putting on that weighted jacket of unforgiveness. There's 3 of us on this podcast right now. If any 2 of us wrong one of the other people, they now wearing 2 weighted vests of unforgiveness when they had the decision not to carry that around. liberate yourself. Make a decision. Love you enough to forgive, even if they never acknowledge that they needed to be forgiven. I would just say in that regard, begin that process. What you got, Coach?
I was going to ask this question next to the audience and to the brothers. Are you ready to forgive?
Of course.
No matter what the circumstances, are you ready to forgive?
With God, all things are possible.
Right.
You like how I put that on? You like that? You like that? I'm not going off my power.
That's one I can't argue with, but
There we go.
I would say, just speaking from myself, not always, just as a parent, I would say it would have to be an act of God if something were to happen to my children, just in the way I made up. And I would say in that situation, I won't say that I can't, but it would be
God.
It would have to be, just because how protective I am and how much I say I've committed to that and knowing their innocence. I'm not saying it's not possible, but if I'm being completely transparent, it would be an act of God.
Bruh, completely, you're right. And like I said, the healing process, it could take years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then after you heal, you just learn how to deal with it and live with it. You know what I'm saying? Not holding anything against that person, like Nehemiah broke it down by you let that piece go, and you just able to, heal and move on, move forward with your life and stuff like that. So that's definitely big, my brothers.
I would just say we're humans.
What type of things could a person do to kind of help their forgiveness, or kind of help clear their mind a little bit as far as you forgiving a person? And you once you forgive them, you trying your best not to get your mind back on that situation that happened. I know I was thinking about one way to kind of get away is writing. You know what I'm saying?
You mean like, okay, actions. Okay.
Yeah, like different stuff like that, like to kind of get now you don't forgave a person, but what helped you get over to that point, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to stay busy, or if you think about, sometimes with stuff like that, you'll think about like, man, I can't believe that person did that to me, bro.
I was gonna say you run into some things with that, because I'm like, is it actually healing or is it a distraction? Is it suppression?
Ooh. Boy.
Just in the way that you said it, because it's one thing, and this is me speaking from experience, because it was somewhere where like I gave somebody my heart, I gave somebody my all, and then I had to see it again and again and again and again and again, and it's like, am I looking for distractions or suppression, or am I actually healing?
What?
Yes.
Bro, what you trying to do, man?
I want you to think about, like, in that regard, it could be more detrimental as far as if you're suppressing versus actually healing. You got to have a real conversation with yourself.
Right.
Butt naked in the mirror, you got to be real. I'm just saying, this is
the person down for the audience, my brother.
This is healthy introspection. This is why you wake up early. This is why you have meditation. This is why go ahead, Nehemiah. You look like you're bubbling over.
No, not me. I was going through this last week. I was that same thing that you just said, right? I realized that I was dealing with suppression and not healing. right, when it came down to a certain subject. I realized that that's what I was battling with, right? Because
What do you, as far as suppression, what do you mean? Like,
because it's like, man,
what you
it's like
trying to hold down? What was you suppressing? You know,
abandonment, and well, really, yeah, mostly, really, I think it's abandonment, right? That was the root cause. That was the root issue of it. Somebody had triggered a feeling of abandonment, and it's like dealing with like processing that situation. I realized that it felt like I was suppressing instead of healing, right? And I was like, that's as I was saying, I was battling back and forth. I was like, this is really just suppressing the situation. It's not that I'm actually getting over it. It's just there's a distraction, then another distraction. I think about it again, then I'll do something else to distract myself from the feeling. But it's like, this really is not helping. I'm still going through this. I'm still feeling this pain from this situation. And all I'm doing is suppressing this. I'm not actually healing from this situation.
you had actually let it go, right?
I thought I did, right? I thought that I did, but I was like, this is all this is doing is suppressing. It's not. It's not healed. This situation or this thought pattern. It's like it's not. It wasn't going anywhere. It was not going nowhere. It was just still there, lingering.
It's kind of like a wound.
Yeah.
Like a wound,
Yeah.
Or like cancerous or something. If I cut away the scab, the skin may heal, but the cancer's still there. Healing isn't meant to just be this blissful experience where you're like, nah, it's whatever. No, you're just pressing it down, and then you think you've gotten over it, but like you said, there's a trigger, and then it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you heal from a thing, you remove it completely. Healing is supposed to be painful. Healing is supposed to be digging, getting all of that scar tissue, all of the lingering, is dealing with your issues, removing those issues. So when it actually does, it ain't just the skin healed over, everything underneath is clean. So that way, when this thing happens again, there's no trigger because it's gone. And I know this from personal experience with my father. I had an issue with abandonment where it was like, why didn't you want me? Mm-hmm. What made me unworthy? And then you go through the thing where you try to prove yourself, or you try to get all these things to say, yeah, I'm worthy of love. But when I dealt with it, when we had the conversation, when we cried it out, when it was painful, mm-hmm. Then now when certain things trigger up, that's not there. There's an understanding, but it's not like those emotions aren't being re-triggered. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to be anything. I simply love you for who you are. I don't have to.
So would you say you allow yourself to go through those things?
First, I would say I had to be brave enough to put myself in a situation to allow it to destroy me, because it held such a prominent thing. And the thing was, I didn't realize how much it was controlling me. Mm-hmm. I didn't, because I was suppressing it. I thought I had it under control. I thought I had it under control. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until I was in that situation to where he really said a few words. Because in my mind, I've said I've hated him because hate allowed me to continue. I've said I wish he was dead because that allowed me to continue. That empowered me to say, I don't need him. When all I ever wanted was his acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. And the moment I got that, I literally broke down like a baby and I started crying. Mm-hmm. That little boy that was still in me, that little thing that was still in me. I mean, I was in tears, boo-hooing. Simply because he said a small phrase, and in my mind, I valued that phrase so much. I worked so hard. I did so much. I had so much emotion behind that. And in an instant, as soon as he said it, floodgates came open. All that emotion poured out of me. all of that came out of me, all that rage, all that hate, all that pain that I had been holding on to, suppressing, holding it down. And the moment it erupted. And I couldn't hold it anymore. I wasn't in control, but that was control. That was making me navigate my life a certain way. And as soon as I heard that phrase, is you are worthy, or I acknowledge you as my son. You're not worthless. You're not a bastard. You're not something that's not valued. And after that outpour, after all of that, then I was able to heal because I got all of that out of me. I can pull green grass over a septic tank. It's still crap in the ground. But if I remove that, it's not just crap anymore. It's fertilizer. So if we dig it up, ain't nothing but more fertilizer under there. Once I removed all of that stuff that kept that rage, that thing that made me want to do other things to prove myself as a man, I didn't need that anymore. I became more self-aware. I was able to love myself in a way I couldn't before because that abandonment, that you're a bastard, nobody wants you. He didn't even stick around to sign your birth certificate. You grew up thinking somebody else was your father.
Mm-hmm.
All of that was done away with. I had nothing else to prove. I had nowhere else to go with that. So now that little boy portion of me has been uplifted, uprooted, and I'm done with that. I can go and be a man now. I can be my own man because I don't have to prove to this person I said I hated anymore that I was worthy. I knew I was worthy. I knew I had value. That's why I say getting to the root, getting to the base. And my thing is, when you go that route, don't think it's gonna be something that's pretty and beautiful. Mm-mm. You can burn the forest down right now and it'd be horrendous. Misplaced or displaced animals and trees and different things like that. But in time, it can grow back and flourish stronger. That's why my favorite mythical being is a phoenix, because every time it perceives death, it's reinvention, it's rebirth. It can come back stronger. It can come back and do so much more. So I would say, just like with forgiveness, there's different levels. You got to allow certain things to die in order to be reborn stronger or a better version. That's why you have people that say, I used to be an addict. I used to be addicted to pornography. I used to be an alcoholic. I used to do heroin. I used to be a womanizer. I used to be women. I used to extort money. I used to be a prostitute. I used to be a sinner. I once was. But when you get to the root and you heal from whatever that is, now, you start getting into, I used to be a mass murderer, and there may be another set of issues and situations for you in that regard. But you can overcome that too. I don't want you to ever think you're too far away from forgiveness. You just got to make a decision, then correct the thought pattern and start continuing to the side. Follow a pattern of good works. And then you get to choose or become. So the woman that was raped, the man that was raped or molested, or whatever the trauma, because we all have trauma. Whatever that is, if you can move past whatever that is, you can get, uproot. Okay, it's an event that happened, but it's not going to define who I am. You empower yourself, take back your power, and then you get to create what's next. Ultimately, you forgive this event, and then you get to create what's going to, how you'll be remembered, what's your legacy. And this can happen at any time. It ain't like, hey, if you made it past 35, it's pretty much over for you. That's not the case. Mm-mm. Make the decision. And that's why I just say, for me, that was one situation for me personally, that in a moment, like you're saying, that instant forgiveness, that's all I ever wanted. That's all I ever wanted. I wanted my mama to be proud of me. So when she got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, it was like, well, that's shot. Is she going to be here to see this? Is she going to be here to see that? So I say, find your way, find your, as they say, live each day as it's your last. You deserve forgiveness. You deserve love. You're worthy. Forge your way.
Man. Don't lose hope.
Can't. So easy though. When you don't have anything to hold on to. We choose Christ. That means he's omnipotent. He's everywhere at all times. He's everything to everybody. But if you don't have that, it can be very dark for you. Because when I don't have money, I have hope. When I feel I don't have love, I got him. When I feel that I'm lost, I have him. When I feel things it's more than I can take, I have him. I'm just like, there's always, like you said, that anchor, that thing. So when I end, like they say, he begins. I'm a finite being. I have something that's infinite.
That's right. Because if you don't have, like you said, if you don't have Christ or you don't have hope, that's when depression comes into play, anxiety, suicide.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
those are the major issues that people are dealing with, man. And it can change from, you thinking you understanding this person so well and stuff like that, and something could trigger them to commit suicide that quick. Like, bruh, people commit suicide from being teased, maybe being disowned from their family, man. People losing their jobs, man. Like they don't think it's a way out or a way to escape anything. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said earlier, Josh, too, man. You gotta forgive yourself, and you gotta be open to bad to let all that go. And like you said, man, you suppress it so long that like you hold it too long, it's gonna end up coming out. And how much weight off that shoulder? How much weight did that lift it off you, bro?
Immense. There's a weight I didn't know I was carrying. I had carried it so long. You get so strong, it's not weight anymore. It's a part. It's like somebody that deal with pain all the time. Your tolerance for pain is so high, you don't even realize you're in pain anymore until it's relieved, and then you're like, oh my goodness, like that's how that's supposed to feel. Like, oh, that's how that's supposed to feel. And in that moment, it was like I felt liberated. I felt free of that thing. Is that to say I didn't have any other problems? No. But in that emotional weight I had carried for so long, is when they say, if I felt like running. But I mean, at the end of it, in that regard, it allowed me to begin the healing, and it allowed me to become more of a whole person. I couldn't be the husband I am now if that hadn't happened to me. I don't think that it would allow me to be the father I am now if that hadn't happened to me. To be the friend, to be the employee or the employer or whatever, that piece had to happen in order to complete that portion. And I mean, for some, it's like, hey, I needed that, but my parent is not here anymore. That's going to be more of a you conversation. That's going to be more of a self-assessment, because some people, I mean, the other individual, that's kind of what Nehemiah was alluding to earlier, where it was like, as long as you're putting the power of yourself in someone else, you'll forever be a slave to that. They have the power. So I would just say in that, find your release so you can become a whole person. Yes, sir, coach.
And that's so true, man. It's basically like when you said, don't let the sun go down upon your wrath. You know what I'm saying? You get in a big argument with somebody, and next thing you know, the next morning they gone, or who's to say that you gone? How would you be able to forgive yourself? Like, man, we argue about some crazy stuff before then. People struggle with even like, man, we argued before then and we didn't even get to talk about it. Like, I know for a fact, like one guy, he was dating this girl when I was in high school senior year. She ended up dying, but he was saying before she died in the car accident, like they was fussing, and she walked out the house. She left the house and she just drove off, but she ended up dying. She didn't make it back home. So think about the way that kind of might have had him like, that could have somebody say, "Oh, it's my fault." Simply a divorce, man. A divorce could be just as tragic and traumatic too to some of these kids and individuals. Most time they say, statistics say, kids blame themselves for them parents spitting up when it may not have anything doing with the parents, and they have to struggle through that. And even to the point where if that could happen, the kid do that, or parents going through a divorce, they could commit suicide. Then who that's on? The parents could forgive themselves for what they did. So, like you said, bro, that forgiveness play a whopping role, man. And it's a big part of our daily lives, bro. Just in general.
That's why what we do is so important.
Yeah.
That's why what we do is so important.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have these real life situations.
So, any last thoughts, my brother?
I'll pass it to Favors. Go ahead and open it up. I'll bring up the rear.
Forgive yourself. No matter how many times you feel like it's like this. Like some stuff, it takes a while to get over, right? You might have did some things in the past and you still kind of going through this situation to get over it. But forgive yourself, right? Don't, just because it's still not be done, don't let that get you down. Don't let that reminder or that situation bring you back to the state of mind like you might feel worthless about it, or it might cause you to feel worthless, or that you're still that same person, right? Don't forgive yourself, right? Don't allow these situations to make you feel like you haven't made any progress or like you haven't changed for the better, right? Sometimes it might take a little second, right, to redeem yourself, right? The Bible talks about redeeming the times, right? It might take a little second at times, but just know within yourself that you have made that change, and you code to that, right? You know what you are, you know who you are inside, and you might be making a change right now for people that make a change right now. Don't let other people's perception of who you are or who they categorize you to be, they might be holding on to what you used to be. You have to forgive yourself. Don't let the opinions and views of other people cause you to hate yourself or to hold something above your own head. So you forgive yourself, even if other people don't.
Most definitely, man. You definitely got to do that, and you have to be the change or make that change. That's up for you. That's up to you to decide. You got to believe first in yourself, first in God, but first in yourself. Yeah, first believe you can, man. First, I'm telling you, man, it got to be a heart. It got to be in your heart, and it got to be a commitment that you're not going back to, what you used to go to. You know what I'm saying? So, man, that's it. Don't close it up, John. Don't eat some more, bro.
No, I'll just say, I'll keep it real cliche. Like as the saying goes, you're one decision away from a different life. Whether that's started with forgiveness, started with self-love, or simply acknowledging that you're worthy, you're one decision away from a different life.
To add to that too, man, just think about just by us, having this podcast and us talking with each other on this podcast and stuff. It kind of, one thing that's good is that you have to be able to talk to somebody and kind of let it out. Like you said, you talk to the right person, you can just pour it all out on them. And you ain't talk to the right person, you know what I'm saying? Because you ain't trying to have nobody deter you to a different standpoint. But like I said, it's some morally good people out here who can give you some good sound advice as well. But allow yourself to talk to people, kind of open up a little bit. especially when it's something so deep and like dealing with different stuff. Like, you know, like we all have different walks and we all have different experiences, and somebody could have related to what you were speaking to.
Yeah.
And that could help them. Like, man. So I you know, and I could be going through the same thing as a person, something, but in a whole different situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, man. Question to the audience once again: are you ready to forgive? Hey, like Josh said, it's a, like we said too early on. It's a decision, man. A decision that who have to make?
You.
Point blank, period, man. Nehemiah, let them know what's going on.
You already know, man. All right, man. Appreciate y'all for watching this podcast, man. If you have made it to the end of this, I want you to do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those notification bells, man, so you do not miss an episode. And if you also want to work with us, man, our links will be in the description below, our social media, our contact information. All right?
We out.
Yo, let's hit the room.
Hit a room. All right.